So hi, welcome to End Credit Reviews on episode of After the Credits on End Credit Reviews. It's just me, Tyler, from End Credit Reviews this time, and I just finally got around to watching Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, I've never really reviewed any of these movies here on YouTube before, so I'm just gonna quickly give my thoughts on all five of the Mission Impossible movies right now. I never watched the actual Mission Impossible TV show that this movie franchise is based off of, so I don't know exactly how accurate it is to that show, so here's what I think of the movies themselves. The first one I thought was a fairly decent movie. I did like the team aspect with it. I did like the whole iconic part where Tom Cruise's character of Ethan Hunt is hanging by a rope, pretty much trying to hack into a system, while also that cool train sequence with the helicopter was pretty cool itself. So I give that one about 2.5 stars out of 4. With Mission Impossible 2, I felt like that was easily the worst one because not was it really boring, but when they got to the action parts, it was like, this is really silly. I mean, the director of that movie was John Woo, and by that point, I felt like, is the director spoofing himself during this movie? So yeah, I definitely give this movie 2 stars out of 4. With Mission Impossible 3, honestly, I think for not only for the longest time did I think this was actually the most underrated of the Mission Impossible movies, but I actually thought this was the best of them because there was a nice balance with Ethan Hunt's character and also kind of the team as well. This is also where we got introduced to Simon Pegg's character. But also, I liked the villain of the movie, but the problem I had with that villain was that I felt like Philip Seymour Hoffman was sort of miscast in the movie. I mean, I don't know, I just can't take him that seriously because I always felt like he looked kind of like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I know a lot of people take a lot of offense to that, but honestly, I never really thought he was that great of an actor. I mean, I'm not saying he was bad. He's definitely not a bad actor. I just don't think he's like on par with Daniel Day-Lewis or something like that, but I did feel like he did a fine enough job in the movie. I just wish he just would have lost some weight for the role. That's all what I'm saying right for there. So basically, I would give that movie 3 stars out of 4. And then, of course, you probably know my thoughts on Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I think it's an overrated movie because the villains are pretty weak and pretty forgettable in that movie. Although there are some good stunts in that movie and some pretty good effects too, and a nice balance of the teamwork part of that movie, I still give it about 2.5 stars out of 4. And then also we had Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, where, okay, the villain was better, but I just didn't really like his voice in that movie. But it definitely does improve in this one, which I'll talk about. But I did think the story itself was a bit better and things made more sense. And the action was pretty solid too, so I would give that one about 2.5 to 3 stars out of 4. Alright, so now I got that out of the way, here is basically my review on Mission Impossible Fallout. So basically in this movie, Tom Cruise's character is working with IMF, which stands for the Impossible Mission Force, has to try to track down the members of the Rogue Nation, I think it was. The members who are labeling themselves as the Apostles, who are the followers of Solomon Lane, who's played by Sean Harris, who basically was the villain from the last movie, and they're trying to get plutonium together to cause some kind of terrorist attack to happen that would endanger a third of the world's population. So it's up to Ethan Hunt and company to stop him. While they're also trying to stop this evil plot from happening, they're also accompanied by an agent known as August, who's played by Henry Cavill, or is it Cavill, I'm not so sure, and Rebecca Ferguson reprises her role as Elsa, or Isla, or Esla, or something like that, and kind of mysterious of how exactly she plays a role in this movie. Now I gotta say, the critics were right about this movie. This was so good. This is easily one of the best movies I have seen all year. Alright, so first I want to say is the story. The story is pretty good. It wasn't like, oh, that was such great, amazing writing, but the best part about the story, I will say, is a lot of the twists and turns. Like, it always kept me on my feet. There's a lot of double crosses and other, like, the plot does thicken a lot in this movie, and just like it when a movie really does that. It's like, oh wait, this happens, And wait, this happens too? It just really does keep you guessing, and I like it when a movie does that, just that smart. Also, the characters, again, the chemistry is really good with these characters. I did kind of like the chemistry between Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill, again, or is it Cavill? I'm not 100% sure. I'll just call him Superman. That this was the movie where they had to remove his mustache when they reshot Justice League, by the way. But anyway, I did like how, in a way, Ethan Hunt was basically more the guy who was trying to be more thorough and kind of sneaky, and August's character was pretty much like, I'm going to do the whole direct approach, even though it does compromise with that sort of thing, especially during a various bathroom scene, which I thought was pretty good and very well thought out as well. In addition, it was also nice to see the character of Julia, who's played by Michelle Montegien, or something like that. Again, I'm not the best with names here, folks, if you're new to this channel. But anyway, she was in the third movie and kind of shown in the fourth one. Basically, she was the one that Ethan Hunt married back in the third one, but I guess he's kind of distanced himself from her to make sure she's not in any harm's way. In addition, one actress that stood out to me was that of the actress Vanessa Kirby, who plays this character known as the White Widow, and I remember her from this really mediocre sci-fi movie called Jupiter Ascending. That was the one with the Wachowskis made that movie. I'm gonna say this movie is a big step up from that movie. I just want to say it right there, and 99% of audiences and anyone listening right now would agree with that. But aside from that, I think one of the best things about this movie is the action and these stunts. I just love it that Tom Cruise tries to do as much of his own stunts as possible. There's this really cool part where they're pretty much diving, doing a skydive to try to get into this party. And also this part where Ethan Hunt is being chased by the police in Paris. That was a really cool chase scene. I just love that whole scene where they're trying to get away and you're just wondering how's he going to get out of this. In addition to that, the part where he's running in London where he gets injured, that was where he did get injured in real life during that stunt. It was kind of on the news at one point, but I remember seeing that. Alright, so now what I want to talk about right now is kind of a spoiler segment, so if you don't want to be spoiled right now, just fast forward to this part. But anyway, I mean, one mild kind of problem I had with this movie was kind of the whole surprise villain cliche, but then again, this whole movie was a mystery where basically the rug kept being pulled underneath the audience consistently throughout the movie, and it was definitely a mystery in a way, so I felt like it was acceptable. I did let it slide a bit in this one in a way, and also at times the story can be a bit too confusing from here and there when it comes to all the double crosses and that sort of thing. I mean, it's going to be a little bit hard for some mainstream audience members to kind of follow, but not like, oh, this is such an art house movie where you have to watch it several times to get it. It's definitely not one of those. But anyway, I mean, the whole part where basically Henry Cavill's character being a villain, I mean, it was kind of hinted in the trailer, but not necessarily. I mean, especially during the helicopter part, I was like, okay, this guy is probably working with the bad guys, and yeah, it's pretty true. So Mission Impossible Fallout is definitely really good. I definitely recommend seeing this on the big screen. I mean, yeah, the movie is a little bit lengthy at times, and also it might have kind of the surprise villain cliche. I mean, not as bad as certain movies such as The Incredibles 2 had it, or as well as some other Disney movies are doing in recent years. But anyway, I definitely recommend this movie. It's definitely one of the best movies I've seen all year, and I would definitely recommend this one to see it if you have not yet already. So as for Mission Impossible Fallout, I would give it about 3 to 3.5 stars out of 4. It's definitely the best of the Mission Impossible movies I've seen so far. I mean, it's actually better than the third one. For a long time, I considered that one to be the best of them, but this one topped it, and that's pretty awesome. So I'm not so sure if they're going to make more, which they probably will, but honestly, I think they should stop it right here because you should really know when to quit when you're ahead, and sadly, the Fast and Furious franchise never listens to that. So anyway, this is Tyler from End Credit Reviews on episode of After the Credits on End Credit Reviews. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of After the Credits on End Credit Reviews, and I hope to make a lot more in the future. Please like and subscribe.